if you are a teacher or you are interested in teaching any subject, be it especially STEM subjects, science, English, physics, mathematics, and the likes, and you're interested in teaching it in Kazakhstan, this video is for you. Quick disclaimer, I usually avoid videos like this when it comes to talking about or sharing information about bringing or helping people move from country to countries. But one thing I have noticed over the course of the years that people have problems, especially when they come to Kazakhstan to teach or to get jobs. And at the end of the day, they have to send their documents back home or do some other things to get themselves accredited or be fit enough to teach in Kazakhstan. A few months ago, I got a message from somebody on Instagram, and this person talked about getting a job in Kazakhstan, and he was trying to find information on what to do, on how to go about it before coming to Kazakhstan. And I thought it's good enough to share that information with anybody trying to move into Kazakhstan, and make sure you have everything checked before coming to Kazakhstan. We have two types of people coming to Kazakhstan, maybe three. The first set of people, which I belong to, are people that come into Kazakhstan as students. I was invited by university to come for my master's. It's sponsored in a way. So, as a result of being invited by the university, I was able to get all my documents checked. By documents, I mean certificates checked before coming to Kazakhstan. Now, we have the second set of people. These people that they came into Kazakhstan with work visa, but the type of work visa is maybe the one that's, things like football players and some other things that does practically like type of jobs that might not require them to check their certificates on the onset until they come to Kazakhstan. And that's another thing. And the third set of people, which these people are the set of people that come to Kazakhstan on a tourist visa and they like Kazakhstan, then they exit, then switch their visas to work visa. Now, for category two and three people, you might want to watch this video specifically. Then for category one, yeah, I have seen some of them have issues, this type of issues too, but let's just get started. The first step for you, if you want to work or do anything in Kazakhstan, is to verify your certificate. Now, when it comes to verification, there's something called apostille, and Nigeria is not part of the apostille convention or agreement with Kazakhstan. What does that mean? Which means for you to work in Kazakhstan as a certified person, all your certificates must be number one, verified in Nigeria that they are original. Then you have to get an apostille stamp on your certificate. So how does that work? If you're Nigerian, you before leaving Nigeria at all, you go to Ministry of Education, which is in Abuja, right? In Abuja. Why am I saying Abuja? Go to Abuja. You go to Abuja, go to the Ministry of Education, stamp your WAEC certificate or NECO, stamp your degree, and if you have your master's, get it stamped also. And without wasting time, also move it across to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. They are kind of adjacent. You have Ministry of Education, then we have Ministry of. I think the thing between them is the Eagle School. I think, yeah, Eagle School is between them. Ministry of Education, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, get your certificate stamped. Usually, it's this kind of invincible, like you can see it at the back of your certificate, get it stamped before leaving. Now, when it comes to apostilles, it's usually done in embassies. So there's an embassy in Egypt, there's an embassy in Iran, and there's one in Russia. Usually, you just get to send through post the stamp with an apostille stamp or something, then you can get it back, or you get it done later. But it is advisable to have all of these certificates verified and stamped before you come to Kazakhstan. If you don't have it done, when you get here, it becomes difficult. I remember it was seriously difficult for me when I think I did, mine was around 2002, I think. And it was extremely hard to get it done. You send it back and forth, DHL. So it's easier to get it done before you leave Nigeria. Yeah, that's number one. Now, I have discovered a beautiful trend because I've always had the question like, how do you just get anybody to speak? Like, anybody that speaks English is an English teacher. Some people are not even trained teachers, and even native speakers might not be trained teachers. That's one thing I have noticed. Over the course of 4 or 5 years, I have seen a difference in the trend. I have seen a lot of Africans, I have seen a lot of English people come to Kazakhstan, not even Africans, I'm talking about uh, even Americans and other people doing things different from teaching. I have seen people work in sport. I have seen a lot of Nigerians as footballers. I have seen a lot of Nigerians in hospitality department, construction, and a lot of Asians, Chinese. But I'm not even talking about other people. Let me focus on English speaking people, which means for you to get a job as an English speaker, you need certification. That's where I'm going to. Now, I know somebody that studied English. I know somebody that studied basic English language in in a Nigerian university, studied English language, did masters in English and the likes, or theater hat. And this person came to Kazakhstan without extra certification at the beginning, got a job, and they're doing fine. And then we have people like me. My background is in engineering, but I have a history of teaching in Nigeria. So back in Nigeria, I was a class teacher in a primary school. Then after that in Nigeria, I taught physics and mathematics. So coming to Kazakhstan, I intended to continue my teaching career, or let me say teaching passion, let me put it that way. But coming to Kazakhstan, I figured I couldn't teach physics and mathematics because of the language barrier. So I switched to teaching English, which I had to train myself, went for some TFL courses. Now, and that's what I'm saying. If your background is not in teaching or you have a totally different background, I would advise you to take certification courses. Take TESOL, what's it called? TFL. I took TFL. You can take CELTA also. These CELTA is a bit expensive, but other forms are not really expensive. Take teaching courses, improve yourself, because this is what differentiates you from an ordinary native speaker. Because your teaching skills, it's I don't want to say teaching is saturated in Kazakhstan now, but what I want to say is that your skills and your certifications are the things that at the end of the day will separate you from an average native speaker or from a normal native speaker. So if you want to go higher or you want to go up there, I would advise you to get your certifications done. And that is one more step to get you up there. Certifications. One other step is that once you have your certifications and you have your results are posted out and verified, well, it's job time, right? So one thing is that you need to get jobs done. Now, there are some, I don't want to say evil, but they're evil people that advise people to come to Kazakhstan on tourist visa. And when you get there, you can get a job and switch. I would say it's a lie. It's a big one because I think over the course of post pandemic, they've put a lot of people in trouble. And I have seen a lot of people here in Kazakhstan fall into the trap of agents bringing them on tourist visa and they just land into trouble right here. They are being arrested, they are being deported back to their countries. I'm not even talking Africans now, I'm talking about different people in Kazakhstan, which is the law in, I think, everywhere, right? Now, one thing you should do is that go to job hunting job sites. I would recommend LinkedIn, and I would also recommend hh.kz, which is headhunter.kz. It's a place where you can find people looking for teachers, professional teachers. Now, with your certifications, create an account, put yourself out there, especially on LinkedIn. I have had about 2 or 3 people get jobs on LinkedIn as teachers from Nigeria. And one thing about this is that if a company is convinced, or if a school, or by company I mean their English centers also, if they are convinced of your certification and skills, they will do anything possible to bring you here. Now, and that is the easiest route. Bring get a job, and they bring you in as fast as possible. This process is not up to it's not up to 2 months if you get everything done. By me, the 2 months I'm talking about is about once you get a job. Yeah. Before getting a job, certification verification might take some time. It depends on how fast you are. But once you get a job, once you're able to get an employer to sponsor your visa, it's quite easy. Remember how I came? I came in through education, so mine is totally different. Now, we also have people that came in through education and they couldn't get themselves jobs, and they had to, or some of them still have to go back to Nigeria because of their inability to secure visas. So we have those things in different forms. We have different patterns. You understand how this thing works. I'm not an immigration expert, so I might not be able to go deeper into that. So get a job, let your, and during your interview, I would say discuss job sponsorship with your employer. Let them. I have seen people that their employers sponsor their visa, so it's pretty easy to do that. Even if it's on a reduced salary, discuss it at first, and at the end of the day, you get it. Now, people would say that, okay, Abraham, you're talking about visas. How much do you earn as a teacher in Kazakhstan? That might be the big question. Well, an average teacher in Kazakhstan, if you know your onions and if you work with um, the big schools, I mean the international schools, and oh, let me give a range here. An average teacher in Kazakhstan should be able to earn between 500 to, let's say, 2,500 or $3,000 a month. Now it depends on your ability. It depends on who you work for. If you work for centers, it might be high, it might be low. If you work, it depends on the number of students. Some centers make agreements based on the number of students, but schools are usually fixed, so you get what you get. And one thing I want you to take care of is that make sure your university or your school takes care, handles your tax. Yeah, it's extremely important. Once they handle your tax, well, they do that already. So they handle the tax, they sort the tax out before they give you your salary. So I think they pay on your behalf. Yeah, I know somebody, but I know somebody, you know what I'm talking about. I don't want to. And as a teacher, if you have other questions, basically, let me know. That's everything I have for now. I don't know if I am keeping some forms of information. I don't know, but let's stop here. And if you want to watch other videos, please check them out. I have them here. Let me know if you have other questions for me. I will be right here. Thank you, and I wish you the best. Goodbye.